These teachers honestly have no idea why parents don't trust them anymore. They have no clue. Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. If you are new here, welcome. I would love it if you would subscribe. If you're returning, welcome back. I would also love it if you would subscribe. On my channel, I like to talk about things that I think actually matter to everyday people, especially those of us trying to raise kids in the insanity known as today's society. I talk a lot about current events and politics, and honestly, just anything I see happening out in the media, out in the world that I think needs to be discussed. And I love it when we can engage in those conversations in the comments as well. So please leave your thoughts in the comments. Also, be sure to head on over to Rumble and find me there under Outspoken Samantha in the event that YouTube decides I have violated their community standards and chooses to kick me off their platform forever. That being said, let's get into today's topic. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of videos that I came across on Twitter that show teachers speaking at school board meetings, and they are speaking against policies that have been implemented in their school districts that say things like they can't use their classroom as their space to express their own personal political and social beliefs, and they have to be transparent with parents about the material that they're giving kids, about the books they're reading, and giving parents the option to opt out of assignments if they feel that they're inappropriate. And I think a lot of us have probably seen a lot more of school board meetings than we ever intended to see. It was just never something that I was particularly excited about, and I think a lot of parents, just didn't really tune into them that much. We're probably looking at it now and thinking we probably should have been a little bit more engaged, but the last few years have been really encouraging, and school board meetings seem to be the hot spot now for parents. It's where parents are showing up in droves to send a clear message to teachers that you do not get to do whatever you want in the classroom, and if you feel that it is your right to do so, you will be called out and you will be monitored very closely. So this first one is at the first school board meeting that I found a clip of, and I'm not entirely sure where this one is, but this teacher is standing up and speaking against a particular policy that has just been imposed in her school district, and just completely baffled as to why parents just don't wholeheartedly trust teachers and counselors anymore.
Many of us staff, we look at policy 321 and we wonder when you lost trust in us, and when did this community lose trust in us? When did you lose trust in the people that you entrust your children with every single day? So let me give you a little context. To become a school counselor, a person needs to have a college degree. Mine is in English, and I happily taught that subject for 7 years. Beyond that, for a counselor, you need to have a master's degree, which includes a semester-long practicum and a full-year internship, unpaid, by the way. Most of us have graduate level education even beyond that, as well as years of experience and countless elective trainings under our belts. So with all that being said, hopefully we can come to the understanding that we know how to do our jobs, and we do them very well. We form strong, genuine relationships with our students, and we often get to know their parents very well and create relationships with them along the way too. So to be educated, trained, and experienced in the art and science of teaching and be trusted to decide if a pride flag has a place in my office is simply bewildering. I like to think that my office is comfortable.
So just for reference, the policy 321 that she is talking about, it requires educators to create an inclusive environment by not expressing their personal views on social or political issues in the capacity of their roles due to the scope of influence they have over students. So she starts out by saying, when did you lose trust in us? When did you lose trust in the people that you entrust with your children every single day? Well, first of all, trust is not a right. It is something that you earn. It is also something that can be broken if you behave in a way that makes me not trust you. I think a lot of this came from not only during COVID when we were seeing assignments that were being given to kids that were inappropriate and questionable, but it was the response to parents as we tried to bring this stuff to the attention of teachers and say, hey, as my child's parent, I do not feel that this is appropriate. And then it became more obvious that these teachers truly feel that they can do whatever the heck they want in the classroom and that you're not allowed to question it. And not only that, they started to target parents that had questions about these assignments and about this material. And then she goes on to talk about all of this education that she participated in and all of these things that she did to get this advanced training, and even throws in there that this was unpaid. And to me, this sounds like a manipulation tactic. Like, she's saying that I did all of these things, I took all of this time out of my life and scheduled and made all of these sacrifices, and that means that you owe me. You owe me your trust. You owe me your child. And I appreciate teachers putting that time and effort into getting an education, into being an expert in their field and being effective at what they do. I'm not minimizing that, but that doesn't mean that you are somebody that, is incapable of doing anything inappropriate or immoral. We have seen a massive spike in predatory behavior between teachers and students over the last couple of years, and I'm sure all of those teachers had this extra education as well, and these extra certifications. And it's her last statement that really just gets me, when she says, "To be educated, trained, and experienced in the art and science of teaching and counseling, and not to be trusted to decide if a pride flag has a place in my office, is simply bewildering." So I'm not entirely sure if she's unaware of what she's saying, or if she's hoping that we're unaware of what she's saying. But I'm looking at this and seeing this statement that, I'm an expert in my field, yet trying to pretend that she doesn't understand the developmental stage that these children are at and how easily impressionable they are, and the impact that putting that flag up in her classroom is going to have. Because she knows full well that putting that flag up is going to influence children and kids at a young age to follow in her footsteps, to believe the things that she wants them to believe, and to essentially abandon whatever it is that their parents might be teaching them at home, or the values that are important to them, and to follow her into this activism, into this belief system, and into this ideology. This next video comes from a school board meeting in Arizona, and this teacher is just so mad about Senate Bill 1700 that they just passed or are about to pass, and she just completely disagrees with it. Wait until you hear what the bill is about.
I have a master's degree because when I got certified, I was told I had to have a master's degree to be an Arizona certified teacher. We all have advanced degrees. What do the parents have? Are we vetting the backgrounds of our parents? Are we allowing the parents to choose the curriculum and the books that our children are going to read? I think that it's a mistake. And I'm just speaking from the heart. The one line that I love is, we must remember that the purpose of public education is not to teach only what parents want their children to be taught. It is to teach them what society needs them to be taught. The
bill that she is talking about is Senate Bill 1700, and this bill is entirely centered on transparency between parents and teachers. I'll read you some of the text from the bill. It says, each school district governing board, in consultation with parents, teachers, and administrators, shall develop and adopt a policy to promote the involvement of parents and guardians of children enrolled in the schools within the school district, including a plan for parent participation in the schools that is designed to improve parent and teacher cooperation in such areas as homework, attendance, and discipline. The plan shall provide for the administration of a parent-teacher satisfaction survey. Procedures by which parents may learn about the course of study for their children and review learning materials, including the source of any supplemental educational materials. Beginning January 1st, 2023, procedures by which parents have access to the school's library, collection of available books and materials, and parents may receive a list of books and materials borrowed from the library by their children. It also gives parents the right to opt their child out of assignments that they feel are inappropriate for their child. And it also says that parents must be notified and provided materials if there will be any instruction involving sex ed or topics that are related to it. And again, parents have the right to opt their child out. This teacher is up there literally saying, I don't understand why you don't trust me, while she is opposing a bill that says you have to tell parents what you're doing. I don't think it gets any crazier than that. The only reason you would oppose this bill is if you wanted to give students material that you know their parents aren't going to like, and you want to be able to do it without being stopped, without their parents questioning it, without being held accountable. And when she talks about the things that the world needs kids to know, kids need to know reading, writing, math, science. They need to have a strong academic foundation. They need to succeed in their studies. That is what the world needs them to know. And when you're standing up there saying, I don't understand why you don't trust us, things like this is why we don't trust you. According to an article in ABC 15 News, there are 23 Baltimore schools that have 0 students proficient in math. According to an article in Fox News, there are 53 Illinois high schools that all collectively fail to achieve grade level proficiency in math. And then there's an article in the Daily Caller that says out of 10 Minneapolis St. Paul public schools, not 1 student is proficient in math. And then there was an article released by Forbes that says, according to the U.S. Department of Education, 54% of U.S. adults ages 16 to 74 years old, about 130 million people, lack proficiency in literacy, reading below the equivalent of a 6th grade level. That's a shocking number for several reasons, and its dollars and cents implications are enormous because literacy is correlated with several important outcomes, such as personal income, employment levels, health, and overall economic growth. So what's bewildering to me is that you would even ask why people don't trust you, why parents are having such a hard time in trusting our kids with the people that are supposed to be educating them at this point. Because we've got statistics that show that more than half the country can't even read at a level of an 11-year-old. And that has devastating impacts on the world around them. So when you're sitting here saying we're teaching them the things that the world needs them to know, clearly you're not. And what you're doing is creating a future generation of people that aren't going to be able to take care of themselves, that aren't going to be able to provide for themselves, who aren't going to be able to grow and succeed because at the time when they were supposed to be the most accelerated in their education, you felt that it was more important to put up a pride flag and talk about all the 97 genders that they could be. And not only that, when it comes to this whole issue of trust, I have seen so many stories that are similar to this. But let's talk about this 9-year-old girl where her teacher influenced her to become transgender and started calling her by a boy name unbeknownst to her parents, and then she started having suicidal thoughts because she was so confused. The article from the New York Post says a Long Island teacher forced a 5th grade girl to go by a male name and pronouns, confusing the child so much that she had suicidal thoughts, a lawsuit alleges. Deborah Rosenquist, a 5th grade teacher at Terryville Road Elementary School in Port Jefferson Station, started calling the 9-year-old Leo and using opposite gender pronouns toward the beginning of the 2021-2022 school year, according to a lawsuit filed in Suffolk County Court by the child's parents last month. The parents say they were only clued in about what was happening in January 2022 when the school principal called them to telling them their child, referred to in court papers as AV, had drawn a picture of a girl writing, "I want to kill myself and I feel sad like a lot," the filing claims. I have seen so many stories like this where teachers are influencing students to change their names at school. They are asking whether or not it's okay to use that name in front of their parents, and they are finding different ways to hide these things from their parents. And it's having devastating effects. These kids are confused, and then their parents aren't aware of it until they are almost to the point of losing their child, or unfortunately to the point where they do lose a child. And one more thing, I came across this video the other day of this 11-year-old boy who went to his school library. He's in 6th grade. He's exactly the same age as my oldest son. So he went to the school library to sign out this book. This book had very explicit sexually descriptive material in it, and he went to the librarian and said, "I'm going to sign this out." And a normal, moral human being would have said, "Oh, that book should not be here. That book is not appropriate for your age." But instead, the librarian said, "I have the graphic novel version of that book. Do you want it?" She didn't discourage him from signing out this book. She asked him if he wanted more and if he wanted the version of it that had pictures.
Hi, my name's Knox Zajac. I'm 11 years old and I go to Wyndham Middle School. I'm a 6th grader. I was in the library, and this book was on a stand. I'd like to read you a page. My back over my hips as I ask if we should take our clothes off. And he's saying yes before I finish my sentence. He's pulling off my t-shirt, laughing when I can't undo his shirt buttons. He's undoing my belt. I'm reaching into his bedside drawer for a condom. We're kissing. Again, we're rolling over. Obviously, you can see where this is going. I don't know if it's because we're feeling especially emotional or just tired, or these past couple of weeks have been too much. But this reminds me so much of the first time we had sex. And the whole thing was kind of terrible because we didn't know what we were doing. But it was good too, so good. Now, this book was at my middle school and it was on a stand. When I rented it out to show my dad it, the librarian asked if I wanted more and if I wanted a graphic novel version.
Oh, boy. So I'm that kid's father.
Okay, good. I was asking for you.
Yeah, I'll take another 3 minutes. So that's my son,
Okay.
11 years old, and went to his library and found that by the entry door of our library, this is the smut that he is finding.
So there should be no question at this point as to why parents do not trust teachers and counselors at this point. I know that there are good teachers out there. I know that there are really good teachers out there. We have had so many that have taught my children over the last few years. But I'm also aware that any teacher at any point could start to influence them with this stuff. And I am always making sure that my kids' teachers, they know who I am. They know that I am involved with my kids, that I am reading their homework, and that I know exactly what is going on to the best of my ability in their classroom. I have also told my children that if any teacher ever uses the words, "don't tell your parents," or gives you an indication that there's something going on that they don't want you to share with me, that is your first and only sign that you need to call me, to contact me in some way, and I will come pick you up. And parents also need to realize that while teachers are telling them that the pride flag is a symbol of inclusivity and it's something that says, every kid is safe here, what it is a bat signal to parents that that teacher is somebody who would have no hesitation about changing your child's name or pronouns or wardrobe or doing any kind of this behavior behind your back and feel completely and totally justified in not telling you about it. And that they're using the title of the LGBTQ community and an alliance with them as an excuse to be able to give your kids whatever material or whatever books that they want to give them and be protected from being questioned or criticized about it. Because if they give your kid a porn book under the guise of being tolerant and accepting of the LGBTQ community, and you question that book or that material, then they can automatically call you a transphobe or call you hateful or bigoted or whatever it is. So really, they are just using it as a cover. They are just using it as a shield to be able to corrupt and sexualize your children and prevent you from being able to say anything. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Please like this video, share it with somebody else that you think might find it interesting. Also, be sure you are subscribed. Help me to grow this channel. Turn on the notification bell so you can be notified every time I post a video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.